Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the D.R.O Show! Hey,
Yo, what's good? It's your boy D.R.O. Once again, welcome to another episode of the D.R.O Show, brought to you in part by me. I don't have no big sponsor, it's just me. Press Play Media Productions, that's the company, you know the drill. Let's get right into it. Tonight, I wanted to really switch it up a little bit, and I always have a lot of people ask me, like, how do you freestyle? How do you write? How do you compose songs? I wanted to kind of let y'all in a little bit on the process, you know? I'm gonna keep it real short and sweet, but I think people who are really into the process of making music will really appreciate this clip right here, you know what I mean? So, how do you make a song? This is for any and everybody who's ever wanted to attempt to make music. You know what I mean? Like, for all you cats that want to rap, but feel like you just don't know how, this is for you. For people who want to create songs but don't understand the structure. Like, I keep it a buck with y'all. When I first started rapping, all I wanted to do was bar it out. Straight bars. I wasn't thinking about bridges. I wasn't thinking about choruses. I wasn't thinking about anything but just hard punchlines. Straight punchlines. You get what I'm saying? Punchlines are cool, but what I realized as I started writing more, there was more depth to the process, and writing is a good way to actually filter out shit. And I say that because I'm very well known for freestyling, and freestyle is cool, but writing is a much better way to filter through your thoughts and to give them more of a cohesive order to make whatever the final thoughts you're trying to present make more sense. You get what I'm saying? So first, you listen to the beat. Now I tell people all the time, I don't just listen to the beat, I let the beat talk to me. It's like we have a conversation without me even opening my mouth, without me saying a word. I listen to it and I think about the vibe of the beat, the energy of the beat. Some beats that you hear are like upbeat and happy-go-lucky and all that shit. What you rhyme about or what you sing about should be a reflection of that. If it's something that's dark, if it's something that's really melodic and slow, what you rhyme about and how you come on the track should be a reflection of that. I'll give you an example. You're not going to be on a track that's really like upbeat and happy-go-lucky, like the Britney Spears "Hit Me Baby One More Time" beat. You're not gonna be on that shit spitting some straight gutter Easy-E type bars. It's just not gonna go over well. Same token, you don't want to be like on an Adele beat spitting some real I'm in the club, I'm bopping and all that. It's not gonna work. That's why I say you need to let the beat talk to you before you attempt to write or do anything to it. Certain beats will take you to certain places. You get what I'm saying? Now, once you know where the beat's gonna take you, then the writing begins. Now, I know for me, I listen to a beat and I'll find a part of the beat to create a cadence around. You know what I mean? Like this beat right here, off of one of my favorite projects of last year, Alfredo. Alfredo was fucking amazing because Freddie Gibbs does everything that I'm saying effortlessly. He knows how to tap into the emotion of the beat, and he knows how to create his cadences based upon the instrumentation within the beat. So you listen to the track and you let the track talk to you, and then once you figure out how you want to come, it's like, okay, you can follow the hi-hat, you can follow the snare, you can follow the drum, you can follow the keys, you can follow the bass line. And what I mean by follow is you can create your whole full pattern around each of these. You get what I'm saying? Like if the drums are like, your rhyme can be like, you can create around each of these instruments. If it's the keys, it's like, ding, 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 ding. You can create a flow pattern around that. And because it's within the beat, it's gonna work. You get what I'm saying? Like, da-da-na-na-na. So you could literally just ride that part of the melody and make a whole song. Now, you might want to, switch it up a little bit for versatility purposes, but you can really do that. Like right here, like, let me just say, I'm rapping today. Duh. You get what I'm saying? Like, you can just follow that, or you can listen and okay. You hear the keys. You can follow the keys. Dum 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 dum. What's something really cool that you can do as a writer is, now I'm giving y'all a cheat sheet right here, but fuck it, you know what I mean? Try to switch your bars every 2 to 4, try to switch the cadence. And if there's 4 parts within the beat and you can incorporate your flow into each one of those parts, pick 4 bar intervals and like switch it up like that. That way you're on the same beat, but you're finding different portions of the beat to rhyme or ride the whole time. You get what I'm saying? So that's just for the verses. Once you get to the chorus needs to be catchy, the chorus needs to be simple, and the chorus is the equivalent to the thesis. You remember when you was in school and they said the thesis is pretty much the statement that ties the whole term paper together. You know what I mean? You have to have a thesis and 3 supporting paragraphs. That's how I look at writing songs. So your hook is going to be the thesis. The bridge is going to be that in between the verses that, accents the message that the hook is trying to tell you. And then once you get those established, you can pretty much write your verses around that. Now, granted, I have written verses before and then made the hook and the bridge, but an easier template, especially for beginners, is start with your hook. All right, especially if you don't know your bar count just yet, because some people don't. Some people don't know how to count bars. But a lot of producers, especially with these instrumentals, the way that they structure the beat, if you listen to enough music, you can kind of tell where the chorus is supposed to come in. You can kind of tell where the bridge is supposed to come in, because there's certain intricate breakdowns at those certain parts within the beat. You get what I'm saying? So if you're really paying attention to the instrumental, it's like, okay, boom, here goes the hook. The hook should be catchy. It should be simple, because mind you, people's attention span, the general public, not us artists, not writers, the public's attention span is really short. Okay? They don't have time to really figure it out. They don't have time to figure out like the super in-depth bars and all that. No, they just want a catchy hook. That's why you don't never go to the club and hear no super lyrical shit. You just don't. Because there's a time and a place for everything. The time and the place for the bar heavy shit is either A, on your album, or B, for a fan base that knows you and you cater strictly to that. I'm just giving you, guidelines of creating a song. But once you understand these guidelines, you'll understand the type of songs that you're trying to make. And some of them deserve the extra bar heaviness to where it's like straight punchlines and witty flows, and it could be a 96 bar kind of be 200 bars and it don't even matter. But then you got those songs that's like a strong 8, maybe 12. You got you a strong chorus, got you a good bridge to bring it all together. Radio songs aren't really over 3 minutes and 20 seconds. So if your record is catering toward that demographic, you want to really think, okay, I don't want it to be too much. And then a lot of times, for the average listener, lyrics go over their head. They're not listening for the depth. They're just listening because the record sounds good. I had a conversation the other day about ghostwriting. You know, I've ghostwritten for people before. I actually have a record called Ghostwriting. And they were asking like whether or not somebody having a ghostwriter was really determined on whether or not people are going to still feel the music. And my response was, from a writer perspective, we don't necessarily like the ghostwriting aspect, but it's kind of hypocritical because we also ghostwrite for people. You get what I'm saying? But in ghostwriting for people, I realized everything doesn't have to be bar heavy. Everything doesn't have to be super lyrical. The average listener of music doesn't give a damn about any of that. They also don't give a damn who wrote it. They just care about how good the song is. So song structure is very, very important. I got a record called Bars. Shout out to my homie Paul Frisco. Shout out to Andrew Never. Bars is one of my favorite collabos with him. Straight the fuck up. Bars is amazing. Bars is like, man, I might even exaggerate. It's like 90 bars a piece. You know what I mean? But for the average listener, it's going to be hard for them to digest a lot of that. For the casual listener, they probably won't even get to my verse because this is first, and then it's going to be like, there's just too much going on here. There's too many words. Whereas somebody like me who's actually a fan of that, I have it on repeat sometimes because I thoroughly enjoy that. But as an artist, it's all about knowing, okay, everything's not for everybody, and being okay with that. Being okay with that and knowing that, all right, when I write, I can craft certain records for certain demographics and I can ride in every lane, which brings me back to my original point. The chorus is the most important part of a complete record. It is the thesis of the whole term paper that you're trying to present. You have to have a strong chorus. Before you start writing your verses, if your intentions are to make a marketable potential single, it could play in the club, radio, you know, people will ride through in the car and may not even remember none of the verses, but they'll remember that hook or they'll remember that bridge, then you're writing with the intent of that, you know? I used to just be stuck on bar mode, like it's all about hard bars, yeah, rhyme it all hard, and then I realized like, man, just because that's what I like doesn't necessarily mean that's what the average consumer likes. So I started to look at it a little differently. You get what I'm saying? Some of you may ask, well, why is a bridge important? I listen to a lot of music outside of hip hop. I listen to pop, I listen to rock, I listen to gospel, I listen to a lot of other stuff. And what I'm seeing is there's some records out there that literally have like, if you were to write it down on paper, it'd be like 2 or 3 lines and then the hook. And then 2 or 3 lines and then the hook and then the bridge and then the hook. The hook and the bridge are carrying the whole record. You got a couple of filler lines in between, but for the most part, it's the hook and the bridge. Why? Because that's what most people remember. You could have the most fire verse ever and nobody even remember the verse, but they remember that damn hook. They remember that the melody. That's another thing. The last, I'd say 10, 15 years, I call it the Drake era. Melodies are a key component to making a successful record nowadays. You know what I mean? Or at least successful within the terms of what's considered mainstream. Because I'm not telling anybody watching this to compromise what they do to sell. I'm not saying that. I'm just trying to give you tips as far as if you're trying to write music, if you're trying to write songs and you're brand new to this, or you're struggling and you haven't writer's block, these are some really easy tips that you can implement into your repertoire and really, really make shit work. The thesis is the hook. The verses complement the hook. It is like writing a term paper. And there should be some level of cohesiveness in your verses to tie back in to the chorus and to tie in to the bridge. Okay? Now, if you are writing for others, if you are what they consider a ghostwriter, you have to put yourself in the mind of the other person and you have to write from their perspective. You might have to quote unquote dumb it down, whatever they want to call it. But you've got to remember, you're writing from their perspective. I have written for other artists. The crazy story. I wrote a record for one of my partners, right? And it was about his 3 children who he hadn't seen in a while because of a dispute with their mother or whatnot. And listening to the record, I listened to it recently. They heard the record on the internet. And hearing that record made them get back in touch with him. You know? And they don't realize he didn't write the record. They don't even care if he wrote the record. The record was so powerful, it reunited a family. That's what it's about. At the end of the day, it's the feeling that the music gives for the average consumer. But for the creative, we actually take pride in picking the pen up and coming up with those thoughts and those ideas and them songs and them choruses that people want to repeat and want to, sing and may possibly want to even, use down the line themselves. So we view it a little different, but all in all, you want to make a song, it's real simple. Term paper, thesis, 3 supporting paragraphs. Slide that bridge up in there. Make it catchy. Make it fun. Make it appeal to whoever you're trying to appeal to. Before you write one word, listen to the beat and then think about who you're writing this record for. Who do you want to connect to? Vulnerability is okay in your music. You ain't got to be hard and tough all the time. Be real. Be real with yourself. You know what I mean? I've got so many different type records talking about so much different stuff because I never limited myself as far as what I was willing to write. Freestyling is a little different. I'm going to do a whole nother video on freestyling because there's so many myths that I want to dispel about freestyling. But I will say this before I go. Freestyling is not writing something down and then rapping it and then trying to convince me that that's a freestyle. Shout out to Supernatural and shout out to Harry Mack because y'all know what time it is. Freestyling is spontaneous thoughts off of your head in the minute, in the moment, in the present. You don't write that. Okay? Now, I'm not even sure what you call a verse that you wrote that ain't nobody heard. That's cool too. I got some verses up in the arsenal in the clip, but it's not freestyling. And I feel like it's a slap in the face to those such as myself who can actually go off of the head and be in the moment and create something that came from nothing that can last for a lifetime. So I had to say that, while I was talking about the writing and getting off my chest. It's a whole nother thing and that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother time. But you just remember, if you have writer's block, you keep writing. Write through the writer's block. You might not use everything that you write. That's okay. You might scribble 4 or 5 pages. You might go in there and you might find the thesis to that term paper of a song that you're trying to write. You might find the bridge. You might find a couple of the bars from the verse that you can build off of. But the key to being a great writer is to write. And remember, before you write, before you speak, listen. The music will tell you what to say every single time if you just listen. It's been another episode of The D.R.O Show, sponsored in part by... There ain't no sponsor, man. Press Play Media Productions. I'm out. Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the D.R.O Show!